Okay. Well, here we are. It's a little late again. I still have a house full of company, and in fact, we had more company today because I had a couple people come up from LA who are helping a friend of mine do a music video, and he wanted me to help them find some shots for the music video, so we were doing that, and it's just been a hectic day. So I'm glad I have this opportunity right now to sit down and take a look at this with you. Um, I've probably been sitting here for about 10 minutes reading the lesson, just sort of closing my eyes and letting it all go and see what this is about today. And it's lesson 293. And remember, with all these lessons, and again, um, this is one of the things I wanted to say. There's a lot of people who haven't undergone an experience of awakening. To many of you who don't get the clear direction that some of us do get, there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding about what it is to go through this process that's being offered to us by the grace of God through the auspices of Jesus and the Holy Spirit as we practice these lessons. And there's this sort of hidden fear in our minds, and it gets exposed from time to time, but there's a hidden fear in our mind that we could undergo an experience of awakening, not know that we woke up, and disappear into nothingness to have never been, which is one way it's been taught, but not the actual way it is. And Jesus and God, by His grace and eternal wisdom and the understanding of the Holy Spirit, sort of presents to us a process that's a little bit different than that. A process that actually involves each and every one of us fulfilling a function within the plan for salvation, and undergoing a process through the utilization of forgiveness and the willingness to use our mind miraculously while we're here in space and time. And remember, what we're talking about when we talk about the real world is the fact that there is a replacement for this world. There's a replacement for all of our thoughts of guilt and fear, for all of the things that we thought were causative of the situation that we're in, and allowed us and made us victim. Forgiveness offers us quite a new understanding. All fear is past, and only love is here. And even if you looked at that reasonably, if I could reason with a person, if I could reason with someone who was able to sit with me and not let the fear and guilt take over his thinking, you would have to be able to present him with the reasonability of the fact that all fear must be past, because all time is past and the past is not here right now. We carry it with us as if it's here, but in fact it's not here. The past is gone, let it go. When the past is gone, or you just look at it reasonably, if you look at it reasonably and say, oh wait, all the things that I would be afraid of and I'm afraid of are, in a sense, stored up in my thinking from my experiences of the past. If all of it is past, it's not here now unless I carry it with me and carry it forward. And while you can do that, I don't know why you would do that if you understood that in the now, here, there is only here, right here, where you and I are together. All fear is past, and there is only love. It's true. All fear is past because its source is gone. Yes. The source of fear is an idea. How does Jesus put it in the Course? An idea that was healed so long ago. It was returned to heaven. And yet we remember it not. Because we live in the forgetting. Because its source is gone. And all its thoughts gone with it. Love remains the only present state. Of course it wouldn't be the present state. Whose source is here forever and forever. So this is one of the things that Jesus is attempting to get us to understand. And reasonably you can begin to understand it because you're far along enough in the process. The idea that you would find happiness with something in the world of space and time, it becomes unreasonable when you recognize that you're destined to lose it because of the temporal nature of everything in the world of space and time. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't find happiness in joining and recognizing who you are and who your brother is beyond space and time, and beginning to recognize through transcendent experiences by the application of these principles that there is a you who is not controlled by anything that's going on in space and time, and it's merely a skill of identification that's allowing you to think that this is what life is, and in fact, you, the image that you've been looking at my image right now. It sort of makes me laugh, because while I understand it's not that it's not me, it's not all of what I am, to say the least, and in a sense, the rest, the totality of what I am, is using what this is in order to both learn the lesson by the presentation of the lesson and the joining with everyone who may happen to want to watch these things. Can the world seem bright and clear and safe and welcoming with all my past mistakes oppressing it? Of course not. So who else but yourself can forgive you for your past mistakes? There's no one holding the past against you but you. Certainly, take it from me. I assure you, God is not holding the past against you, because God does not know of a past or a future. He lives in an eternal presence of infinite love. The other thing is, this is something that occurs to many 12-step people. You know, in the 12-step program, you take an inventory, and where you seem to have hurt someone, you make amends, okay? You know, when I began to undergo the process of making amends, I found that a lot of the things I thought I had to make amends for, the people who I thought I had to make amends to, were merely incidences that had sort of taken on a huger proportion in my mind than they actually had in the reality of in the situation as it was. And half the time, the amends I thought I needed to make, nobody had any memory of but me. So it became obvious that the need was for me to forgive myself. And the way I could forgive myself was by recognizing that nobody was holding anything against me but me. And why would I if God, in fact, wasn't? And that was the revelation, of course, that I had with Jesus. He said, you're doing this to yourself. God is but love. With all my past mistakes and showing me distorted forms of fear, yet in the present, love is obvious. And its effects apparent. Yes. Just think of that. The past really is gone. All fears in the past. The past is gone and can touch you not. If in fact you trust who you are, as you are, to the spirit that was given you, the spirit of wholeness, that came with you here into this foreign place, wherein which there is an idea of a past and a future. But those times are quickly coming to an end, because the more time we spend together and the more time you spend within your own practice having your experiences, the more you're recognizing the unreality of time and the inability of perceptions that come within the temporal sequencing to have any relationship to the reality of who you are, and yet the necessity to utilize forgiveness. As it says, all the world shines in reflection of its holy light, and I perceive a world forgiven at last. Yes. And this is beginning to make sense based on the experience we're having. Right next to this world that we think we are occupying, there's a real world wherein which the light that we are glows and becomes, in a sense, the projected imagery that we perceive. Everything begins to take on the light that we extend, and clarity is another way of looking at it. Everything becomes clear, and we don't live within the distortions of fear. We live within the direct perception until we live in moments of direct knowing, where there's no perception. There's no perception separate from what we're perceiving within our mind. In other words, we're not separate from anything, either in the world of space and time, the illusion, which is why it can, in a sense, disappear in totality in a single instant, because it's all one illusion. And so when we disidentify with it totally, let's say in a revelatory moment, all fear is naturally suspended and gone, and what's left is the brightness of the reality of who we are as we were created, as God created us. And then we begin to use that light to look upon everything, in the recognition that all real things were created by God, and what isn't real is merely an illusion and has no ability to affect our reality whatsoever. Father, let not your holy world escape my sight today, nor let my ears be deaf to all the hymns of gratitude the world is singing underneath the sounds of fear. And why is the world singing hymns of gratitude? Because the hymns of gratitude are the grateful voices of all those and all that which has been created to be eternal, whole, and perfect, and extend the love and light that God created all of us to be as one in. There is a real world which the present holds safe from all past mistakes. Yes, because it exists in the present, wherein there is no past. And I would see only this world before my eyes today. And you're going to see that world with me today. And we're going to begin to see glimpses of it every day and recognize the reality of who we are as we shine away the unreality and awaken from this nightmare. Okay, and what this is saying is, don't worry about being hurled into reality. The awakening that you're undergoing and the forgiveness that you're utilizing within your own mind and heart will allow the entirety of the process to keep gentle pace with you, so that as fear goes, you will recognize the love that you are more and more, until there's no more fear to go, and there is only love, and there is only wholeness, and there is only the perfection and the light and the love that we share with all creation and with our Father, our Creator.